I gotta tell you guys, when it comes to Tales of Zestiria, the X's opening, I gotta say, like, that is easily, hands down, my favorite opening of the season by far. I mean, we still have yet to see Mob Psycho 100's opening, but so far, Tales of Zestiria has stolen the spotlight when it comes to the opening, and so far when it comes to the anime. This week's episode of Tales of Zestiria was awesome. I really enjoyed this episode, and just seeing, you know, the new stuff that, you know, fans who have played the game have never seen before is very interesting indeed, because in this episode we focus on two different perspectives this time. This is actually the first episode to Tales of Zestiria, the Cross, or the X. Okay, last week's episode, it was just a prologue, but with this episode, with episode 2, this is officially the starting point of the series. And we shift to two different perspectives with Mikleo and Sorey, with also Alicia. What I thought was very interesting about this episode is how we actually got to see Alicia stumbling across the ruins of the Shepherd. It was very interesting to see that because as fans who have played the game, we never actually got to see that at all. We never got to see the backstory on how she ended up coming to the ruins in the first place, because in the game, you only take the control of Sorey and Mikleo at that given point in time. They are at the ruins and then they meet up with Alicia. You know, and there's not really a backstory on how Alicia ended up arriving at the ruins in the first place. So it was very interesting to see how, you know, the events ended up transpiring with Alicia before she ended up meeting Sorey and Mikleo later on. Another thing that I noticed from this week's episode of Tales of Zestiria the X is that this week's episode actually used several clips from the movie of Tales of Zestiria. Now, the movie to Tales of Zestiria was pretty much a little promotion for the game, so to speak. It was to introduce players to the world of Tales of Zestiria. It was about 45 minutes, and it was also animated by Ufotable as well. Now, the only differences that I noticed from the movie of Tales of Zestiria and this week's episode of Tales of Zestiria, the X, is that basically the episode skipped out on the spider boss fight. Now, this isn't a big deal because really all this is that this boss fight ends up taking place right before Sorey and Mikleo end up, you know, confronting Alicia in the beginning of the game. They have to get past this big spider and several other spiders before they actually, you know, have access to talk to Alicia and wake her up. Now, this isn't a big deal because really this only was just a, you know, sort of like tutorial portion within the game and also within the movie, and it was just to show, you know, Sorey and Mikleo's combat effectiveness, but we're going to see that later on as the story progresses entirely. I just thought that was worth mentioning in case anybody wanted to know. Oh, and that preview that we got out of this week's episode of Tales of Zestiria was awesome. Like, it definitely doesn't show anything that is going to be involved for next week's episode of Tales of Zestiria, but it was still funny to see because we basically have just Sorey, you know, trying to get advice from Mikleo on how exactly Sorey can end up talking to girls, or talk to Alicia for that matter. And while, yes, he does need to get used to talking to people, because trust me, Sorey is gonna end up doing a lot of that within this series, you know, and like that was very funny to me. It was very funny because for people who haven't played the game, for those of you who don't know, pretty much whenever you reach a certain point within the game, you get about these character cutscenes and you get to hear the characters' inner dialogue. You get to hear their thoughts and just, you know, what they are thinking or want to talk about in general. Some stuff might relate to the overall story, while other stuff can just, you know, add on to their character. And it was very cool to see how they ended up implementing that within the preview of, you know, next week's episode. So I thought that was very cool to see. And also, I wanted to talk about the ending. The ending to Tales of Zestiria, the X. It's a very relaxing ending. The ending song, I really do like it. It's very relaxing. It's definitely not as good as the opening, mind you, but it's still very relaxing, and you get to see all the characters from the series within that within that ending, excuse me, and just seeing them interact, like, it's just so awesome, and I cannot wait to see more characters from the game appear within this anime series. Like, it's going to get good, and I'm just glad that Ufotable is, you know, executing this anime properly. And of course, at the end of this episode, we see that Alicia is asking Saray if, you know, you are the shepherd. Like, what's going on with that? What is the shepherd? I'm pretty sure a lot of you anime onlys are wondering, like, what is this shepherd that is being foretold in the prophecies and that Alicia is bringing up? You know, what exactly is going on in the world of Tales of Zestiria, and what is this shepherd? You know, still, we do not have, you know, a lot of information regarding what is going on, but you will definitely most likely, you know, get information on that by next week's episode. As next week's episode, we're going to see, you know what, I don't want to spoil anybody, so let's just hold up on that. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below on what you thought about this episode of Tales of Zestiria the X. I thought this was a very enjoyable episode, and it's just kind of cool to see, you know, new stuff also being added on to the old stuff that fans of the games have played. So it's very interesting to see. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like. It always helps out the channel. And if you want to stick up to date to my future content on this channel, please hit that red subscribe button below, and you will never miss a video from me. That about does it for this video, guys, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.